Thank you all for joining us. So tonight we're going to talk about setting up for success. So we're going to get you ready to be a Golden Bear living on campus in the fall. Just for context and some housekeeping things before we get started, we want to make sure that you know how to use the functions tonight. So we want to make sure that you know that you can turn on captions. So if you go to the little three dots, if you need captions, that they'll be helpful. There's three dots on like your taskbar for Zoom that say more. And if you click on that, you can show captions and enable those if they're helpful. I know I use a hearing aid. It's really helpful for me to have captions. So if that's helpful for you, feel free to turn them on. But yeah, this is the third of our What's Up Wednesday series. This What's Up Wednesday will share our best tips about how to safely set up your space and how to thrive in your hall throughout the year. So we have some general what to bring to campus, what not to bring, but we also have information on just being successful as a first-year student at Kutztown. So hopefully all of that is helpful. If you missed our first two What's Up Wednesdays, the first one was on room selection and how to select your space. The second one was on selecting your meal plan, and meal plan selection starts soon at the end of this month, any day now. I believe it's June 30th. So that starts soon. So if you missed that, you can catch that all on YouTube. If you follow us at Live Here, Roar Here, those recordings from those two previous What's Up Wednesdays are on there, and hopefully they can answer all of your questions. All right, so let's chat. So if you have questions along the way, they don't have to be related to what we're talking about. Honestly, Zoe and I are just here to help you with any questions you have about living on campus or KU in general. Zoe has been a student in some capacity at Kutztown for what, 6 years, Zoe?
Yeah, this will be my 6th year in the fall.
Yeah, so Zoe has a lot of KU experience. I've worked here as of next month. I will have worked here for 6 years. So we have a lot of knowledge to share with you. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. If we miss it along the way, because there's just a lot of people and maybe the chat will be busy, just remind us, just copy and paste, put it in there again. If your question is very individual about like, hey, this is my name and this is my room assignment and I don't know what happened, that might be hard for us to research on the back end in the moment. So we may ask you to email us at housing@kutztown.edu so we can get back to you. And then lastly, I'll just let you all know that, as I said with the first two, this is recorded. So we're going to share this recording on YouTube. So if you're uncomfortable with that in any way, we can cut the beginning half of this video if needed, if you want to hide your screen or change your name or anything, if you have privacy concerns. So feel free to do that at this point if you need to. So yeah, Zoe will be handling the chat and looking at the chat so far. So yeah, it says about signing up for a meal plan. So we can address some of those things in the chat, but formally those things are still opening. They're still in progress. So you should be able to handle those things with meal plans. But if there's questions, you can always email us, or maybe Zoe can add some advice in the chat. So let's get started. So who are we? Who are you talking to right now? So I'm Amanda Gilmore. I use she, her pronouns. I'm one of the assistant directors in our office. So my job responsibilities include overseeing our diversity, equity, inclusion efforts for our department. So for our staff, for on-campus residents, making sure we're learning about people who are different from us and making sure we have program opportunities that are representative of our entire student body. I also do our marketing initiatives, so print, web, social media, and our special interest housing. When I say special interest housing, I mean like our arts community, our communities that are related to Stonewall, our LGBTQ plus community, all those types of special housing communities on campus. I work with those advisors and make sure that everything's in place. I've been at Kutztown here in a professional capacity. As I said, next month it'll be 6 years for me. But in addition to that, I've been on a college campus for 16 years. Don't let these good genes fool you. I've been on campus a long time, so I have a lot of experience with college students, and I've lived on 4 different campuses before my time here at KU. So hopefully I can share a lot of pro tips with you tonight. And then Zoe, do you mind introducing yourself for a moment?
Of course. So my name is Zoe McCarter. I also use she, her pronouns. Currently, I serve as one of the resident directors on campus. So I oversee Schuylkill Hall, one of our first year traditional halls. So that means that I oversee all of the residents in the building as well as a selection of student staff. So we will talk a little bit later on about the different staff that we have available to you in the halls. But I am kind of responsible for overseeing all of them as well as the students that live in my specific hall. I was a psychology major in undergrad here at Kutztown, and I am going into my second year in my master's degree program. So I am going for my master's degree in student affairs to continue working at a college. So I'm glad to see you all here.
Thank you, Zoe. I'm very glad that Zoe could be here with us tonight because while I've never been a student at KU, Zoe has. So Zoe has a lot of good stuff to share with you in the chat. So you're in good hands if you have questions tonight. So our agenda, what we're going to be talking about for the next, 30 minutes or whatever. What to bring and what not to bring. So every institution, every college campus has different rules on what is or is not allowed on campus. We'll clarify that for all of you before you even go shopping, hopefully, right? So you know what to get, what not to get. We'll also talk about staff. So we use a lot of acronyms here on campus. So CAs, DRs, ARDs, RDs, RCs. You're like, who the heck are all of these people? You'll learn, you'll become familiar when you're on campus, but maybe having a little leg up tonight and knowing what some of these terms mean, like how CAs are community assistants, is really what we call our RAs here, if you've heard of those. It's the same thing. We just call them CAs because we focus on community building here at Kutztown. So we'll share some of those things tonight to get you more acclimated with what to expect here at KU and be successful. And then lastly, we're going to talk about just general pro tips about how to be successful on campus. We want you to be prepared when you get here, and there's a lot that you're going to kind of learn by doing. But if we can give you advice on the front end, we want to be able to do that tonight. Oop, let me go back one, sorry. So we have a packing list to share with you. So if you have your phone right now, maybe you're on a laptop and you can scan this. If not, you can pull up a new tab on your phone, a new browser, just tinyurl.com/packinglistku. Even if you just get a screenshot of this right here and you pull it up later, Zoe's also going to put it in the chat for easy access. But this is like a PDF version of what to bring and what not to bring. So the first page is everything you should bring to campus. And the second page is like things that are not allowed, right? So if you pull that up, that's really going to be comprehensive of what we're about to talk about. That way you don't feel like you have to memorize everything that we're about to go over in the next 15 minutes. You have it at your fingertips for future reference. So that is here, and Zoe's also putting that in the chat. Thank you, Zoe. So what to bring. So for most of all y'all, you're going to be in first year residence halls. So for most of you, that's not going to be University Place. But just in case we have anyone on this call that has accommodations or some other situation, like maybe an athlete or something, that they're going to be in University Place, it's important for you to know to bring lamps. University Place is our only residence hall, UP, that doesn't have overhead lighting. So you need to bring like floor lamps and lighting for your space. It's just a weird quirk about the building, so note that. Everyone else, you're good with lighting. You don't need to bring that stuff. A lot of our desks, like our study desks, even have built-in lamps kind of in the top, so you have that at your work desk, which is really nice. We'll also say for any non-traditional halls, so most of our upperclassmen buildings, or if you have accommodations, when I say that I mean buildings like apartment buildings like Golden Bear Village, West or South, or Dixon, you're going to need to bring toilet paper and bathroom cleaning supplies because you're responsible as an upperclassman or a resident in Dixon or Golden Bear to provide your own supplies for the bathroom, for cleaning, for toilet paper. Now, for most of you on this call, for probably all 73 of you, you're not going to need to worry about that because our traditional halls are cleaned by staff every single weekday, Monday through Friday. So we have housekeepers who take care of that, who clean the bathrooms for you, and they provide toilet paper. But just in case we have the occasional person on here who might be living in Dixon for an accommodation reason, maybe, it's important for you to know to bring your own toilet paper and your own bathroom supplies. Now, that being said, so what to bring? In general, these are the things you need, not the things we suggest, but you probably really need. So twin XL bedding, note that I say XL here, not just twin bedding. A lot of times people will make the mistake of getting twin size. You need twin XL. We order XL beds for every room because a lot of people are tall. So instead of having people request a tall mattress when they are tall, we just put an XL mattress, twin, in every room. So just make sure you're getting that so you're not fighting with your sheets and they're pulling off every night. So you need bedding, a pillow, any comfort you items you have. I know, look, I'm 33 years old and I sleep with a pillow pet. You bet your butt I'm bringing that to campus, right? So whatever you need to make you feel comfortable in your home away from home, bring that with. It'll be helpful when you're having your first stressed out night studying for exams. Bring any technology you want, so your laptop, charging devices, power strips. We even recommend like a flashlight and some batteries. You never know. I mean, this is rural Pennsylvania. We could have a thunderstorm like tonight, and we might have like a 5 minute loss of power. It's nice to have a flashlight if you need it. So I always keep one on hand, and I recommend the same for you. You're going to want a trash can, hangers, a water bottle, hamper when you're taking stuff to the laundry room, some light cleaning supplies and laundry supplies. When I say light cleaning supplies, I know one of the things I forgot as a student many, eons ago is having dish soap. Like I didn't have a dishwasher, I didn't have many dishes, but I used a reusable water bottle and like a fork and spoon and a cup, and I didn't think to bring dish soap. So please bring a dish soap, bring a sponge. These are things you may forget. As for personalization of your space, if you have decoration, please bring painter's tape and push pins, and please leave the command strips at home. Command strips. So they may work in your home right now, but our home here, the walls, when you consider it's a residence hall and they've been repainted every year for maybe the last 5 years for upkeep, that paint, that drywall, not very strong. Command strips going to rip the paint right off. We'd much rather you use push pins and just push into the drywall for this tiny little hole than use command strips. So get those push pins. And if you happen to be in a building like Bonner that has cinder block hard walls that you can't put a push pin in, just get that painter's tape, get that putty, something else. Command strips are still not a good idea. So that's what we recommend. And please use UL approved lights. So if you have, for example, string lights or any sort of light bulbs that you're bringing for a lamp, as long as they have the UL sign of approval, like that stamp on the tag or whatever, they're good to go. We know they're fire safe, and that's what we're concerned about. As far as your desk, you want to bring basic class supplies like backpack, pens, pencils, paper. Post-its are great reminders. I'm personally a big fan of Post-its. I can't remember anything without a Post-it. Highly recommend them. Tape, stapler, calculator, planer, scissors. These may sound like kind of trivial things, but the first time you don't have a scissors and you need it and you have to ask someone down the hall, you're going to be wishing you had scissors. And then lastly, I would say like towels, washcloths, toiletries, a tote or caddy, hair appliances, shower shoes. Most of you are going to be in traditional residence halls with communal showers. Flip-flops. You don't want to put your feet where other people's feet has been, okay? Bring the flip-flops. So that's what we recommend for what to bring. But if you want to take it a step further and have those add-ons, these are things that people have brought that maybe they're not needed, but they're really going to make things better. Fans. For those first, like, I don't know, what did you say, Zoe, 4 to 6 weeks of classes, when it's still kind of summer, it's still kind of hot, your fans going to be critical. So most of our first year residence halls, our traditional halls, do not have air conditioning, which means it's going to be hot. And people tend to panic about this. We'll talk about this in a couple slides about how to beat the heat. But having a couple fans to bring, like bringing the cool air from the window at night, really helpful. So if you can get 1 or 2 fans, maybe one bringing it in from the window and then one oscillating throughout the room, that's a pro tip. You should definitely bring them. A mirror, every time you have to do your makeup or something like that or anything like that, you don't want to be going down the hall to the communal restroom if you don't need to. So bring a mirror. A lamp, reading light, a pro roommate tip, an eye mask or earplugs, super helpful. You and your roommate may have different sleeping schedules, and if you want to go to bed early one night, but it's kind of bright in the room, get an eye mask. I have one of those ones that I keep in the freezer that's like a, like a cooling gel eye mask. Amazing. I would recommend that to everyone. So just think about that. Also, maybe a dolly or a cart for move-in day to make things easier, or a tarp. So if it's a rainy day for move-in, which unfortunately somehow it always seems to rain on move-in day, I don't know why it does that, it can be really helpful to have a tarp, even just an old dirty tarp that you can put on the grass and unload your stuff onto when you move in on move-in day. That way you aren't putting your, totes or your bags on wet grass when you move in. Things I've seen that I'm like, ooh, they were thinking ahead, really smart. Any pre-purchased books that you got from the bookstore or any other site that you bought your books from, bringing them. Don't forget those. That's a priority, right? Why we're here, right? Classes. Rain. It's rainy here tonight. It's going to be rainy some nights on campus. You're not too tough for an umbrella, I promise you. Bring the umbrella. You don't want to get drenched walking to class. Zoe's laughing because she knows it's true. Bring the umbrella, bring the raincoat, bring both because sometimes that rain is coming in sideways. I know, was it like 2 months ago? I was walking on campus with an umbrella, but it was so windy. The umbrella went inside out. If I didn't have my raincoat, I would have been drenched. Get a raincoat. A rubber mallet for bunking. Okay, this one is so extra, but when you can't get the pieces right for your bed because they're stuck and you're trying to bunk it, having a rubber mallet really helpful. You'll be the most popular person on your floor because everyone will want to borrow your rubber mallet to properly bunk those beds. And next thing I put here is like mini drugstore. So this sounds, again, a little bit extra, but you never know what you're going to come down with in college, right? So you're having germs from all over the place. Having that, Tylenol PM or NyQuil or some Sudafed or just Advil, Tylenol, antacids, like whatever you need, having those kind of stocked up in a little kit for you. If you're a parent on this call or a loved one or a guardian, send that with them because nothing's worse than having a tummy ache at like 2 in the morning and having to go out into town and get something for that. It's better to have it on hand. So I'd recommend having it. A mini fridge. So get a mini fridge. If you want a microwave and a fridge, you're going to have to rent that. So unfortunately, you're not allowed to bring your own microwave. I'll repeat, you are not allowed to bring your own microwave to campus. You can bring your own mini fridge to campus. You don't have to rent one. But if you want a microwave, you have to rent our micro fridge unit, which is basically where the mini fridge is attached to the microwave at the top, and it's one built-in together unit. You have to rent that. I think it's like, I want to say like $211, I think, is approximately the cost of that to rent. So if you want the microwave, you can absolutely rent that. Honestly, most people do fine just getting their own mini fridge and then sharing if other people have a microwave. The amount of times that you're going to have to microwave ramen or popcorn, few and far between. You might be okay with just a mini fridge and bringing your own, but that's your decision to make. So if you decide you do want to rent a micro fridge, you can do so at mymicrofridge.com and look more into it there. That's an external vendor that we partner with that we allow them because we know they have safe wattage for our residence halls and those devices. And then lastly, you might want like a single serve coffee maker, like a Keurig, to make in the morning before you head to class. So you don't have to stop anywhere on campus. And you might just want some basic snacks, right? Feel free to bring that. We do have vending machines and things in the hall, but for me, I know I'm very specific about my blue Takis, and I'm bringing 6 bags of those. So you make your choices and I'll make mine. Okay, so what not to bring and what not to do. I highly recommend at least skimming the QR code here. So go to tinyurl.com/decoration policy. You'll see there in general what our rules are. Everything on this slide about don't bring this, don't bring this, don't bring this, it's all on there. So you can see there what our rules are. Like you can't bring your own air conditioner, you can't bring a space heater. All the things we have here, we promise we're not being extra. We just want you to be safe. So oftentimes things that we have on here are fire safety risks or just general safety risks like bed risers. They have fallen off. Don't use bed risers. Our beds automatically can rise like 2 feet-ish. So you're going to be okay without a bed riser. Don't bring those. So please use the QR code. Check this out here. Zoe's putting a link in the chat if Zoe didn't already. So yes, thank you, Zoe. So just check that out and make sure you're not bringing anything that you're not supposed to. So that's what to bring and what not to bring. But I hope you'll stay tuned for a few more tips we have for you. So at the beginning when I told you about all those acronyms that we have for our student staff positions like CAs, DRs, now's here where I'm going to tell you about them. So our staff in hall, DRs, that stands for desk receptionists. So all of our front desks for every building are staffed by desk receptionists, which are there 24/7. So that means if you're coming in at 3 in the morning and you have a guest with you and you need to sign someone in, that's what a DR is doing. So those desk receptionists, you have a question, you need to know something, you need to get your mail, whatever it is, you can ask the DR for that. Those are all things that fall under their job responsibilities. And we also have CAs. So every wing, every hallway, every group of students, whether that's 15 students, 30, 40 students, they're all assigned a CA, a community assistant. Their whole job is to make sure that KU is your home away from home. They literally just want to connect you to resources, other people with similar interests. They want to invite you to programs. They want to do all of those things. So that's your CA, your community assistant. They're going to try to talk to you. Please talk to them. They just want to help you. They're not the enemy. They want to get to know you. And then helping to supervise the DRs and the CAs are your ARDs, your assistant resident directors. So they're kind of like the person who's going to help the person in charge of the building oversee the desk, help give advice to the CAs. They're a great resource in your building. Those are typically like your juniors or seniors in most cases who have worked for us in residence life for a year or more. They have some senior experience. They know a lot about KU, and they're kind of the best of the best on campus. So they're a great resource to have. Zoe used to be an ARD, right, Zoe? Yeah. And this is what Zoe is now. So an RD or a residence coordinator. Those terms are kind of synonymous in that both a residence director and a residence coordinator oversee a building. So for example, if you live in Schuylkill in the fall, a resident director is going to be overseeing you, i.e. probably Zoe. If you're a residence coordinator, maybe you're living in Dixon, and a residence coordinator is going to be the person in charge of the building. It's really semantics at that point, whether or not they already have their master's degree, right? Whether or not they're supervising other buildings. But that's just, that's your point of contact for the building. They have an office in your building. There's someone you can go to if there's any problems with the student staff or if there's any large issues that you want to bring to their attention. They're kind of like the head person in charge of the hall. So that's kind of what our acronyms mean. And it's important that you know if you need to get in touch with any of these people at any point, you can go to your hall's front desk, 2 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. There's going to be a DR there who can either help you with your question or call some of these other people. And with that, that's a nice transition to our next slide, the professionals. So those residence coordinators, those graduate students that I told you about, they're on call. So no matter when it is, what day of the week, a holiday, whatever, we have student and graduate staff who are trained to call professionals for emergencies if they need support. And then professional staff, such as myself as an assistant director, we're on call in a rotation 24/7, 365 days a year for this reason. So for example, if Zoe is on call tonight, and Zoe is a residence director, and Zoe gets a call about, for example, I'm on call this week, right? And I got a call maybe about an hour or two ago from a lock issue in a building, right? So there was a lock issue that normally the resident director could handle, but the lock wasn't turning even after facilities came to fix it. So they called me, right? So we have staff that are on call at multiple levels every single night. So if you have an issue with maintenance, with any interpersonal issues, with any crisis on campus, gosh forbid those things happen, I'm just here to tell you that we have people that are going to help you with that. Zoe, myself, all my colleagues, we're in rotations that are here to support you. So don't be afraid to go to your front desk or ask for help if you need it, because I promise you, we probably heard it before and we're here to help. So don't be shy. It's our job. Okay, so the last bit that I have for you, these are just some little tips that you may not have thought to ask or that Zoe or I learned the hard way and we wish we would have been told, but we've been there, done that. So we just want to help you show off when you get here that you already know. You're kind of in the know a little bit here. So, mail, please take a picture of this because you're going to want to know to tell your friends, your family members, whoever it is, how to address your mail. So the first one here will not apply to most of you for Golden Bear Village South. The second column here will not apply to most of you for Golden Bear Village West. If you're in any other residence hall on campus, Schuylkill, Beck, Berks, Lehigh, Bonner, Dixon, whatever, that last column is how you're going to address your mail. You're going to put your name, you're going to put your room number, you're going to have your building name, and this is all on here for you to put. So it'll tell you how to address your mail. So take a screenshot of this, that way you know what you're doing. And as always, if you have questions, you lose this slide, just ask your front desk. They probably have a big glaring sign in their lobby about how exactly you should address your mail so we can help you. But it's good, especially if there's family members on this call, you already know you want to send them a little care package or whatever. We'd love to see that. So this is the mailing address. Okay, I'm going to click. We all done? We good? Okay. All right, we are almost done. I want to just give a few tips about roommates. Being successful with a roommate, look, I get it. You may not know each other, you may not have a prior relationship, or even if you do, even if you were like besties from high school, you've never lived with this person 7 days a week, 24/7, right? So you may have differences to work out. We're here to help with that. So your CA, when you get here, they're going to help you fill out a roommate agreement. They exist for a reason. Please take that document seriously. Be clear, be detailed. Say on there in writing what you are comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. That's going to prevent a lot of problems in the long run. And then inevitably, just from someone, and I'm sure Zoe would agree, just for someone who's had a roommate on a college campus, there's no way with how many days there are in a semester, in a year, that you're not going to have an awkward moment or two or agree on everything, right? So just talk it out. Be direct and be kind when you're being direct, saying, like, hey, when this happened, it kind of made me uncomfortable, and this is why. You don't have to be mean about it, just bring it up. You can't hold those things close to your chest or they're going to like blow up later. So just think about respecting the person, communicating, and being flexible. Those are really our pro tips. You're not going to get your way every single time, but you need to make your needs clear and hopefully they're respected by your roommate. But in the event that they're not, if you need a mediation, your CA has got you. We have trained them in mediation for how to help you deal with conflict for your roommate. They go for that training for a reason. If you need advice, maybe you don't need a full-on mediation, but you're like, you're Zoe and you're like your roommate Sarah, you're just not getting along. And you're like, hey, Amanda, I've told them multiple times about how clean the room needs to be, but I don't think they're hearing me. How can I tell them in a way that they need to understand? Maybe your CA, Amanda, has had that conversation before and they can give you good advice, or they can practice the conversation with you so it doesn't feel awkward when you need to talk it out. So just use your CA, communicate with your roommate. Oftentimes we're just so conflict averse that we don't want to bring it up. Look, I get it. It's awkward, but this is a life skill. As someone who's been married, this is a life skill. If you ever want to live someone ever at any point in your life, which is not for everyone, but if you ever want to do this is a life skill you're going to learn to negotiate, and now's the time. Okay, a pro tip about beating the heat. You know how I said most of our traditional halls don't have air conditioning? As a person who is very sweaty, I get it. I hate being in the heat. And here's what I would tell you, right? Use the fans. Also, don't just sit in your room. Get out and enjoy campus, right? So, like all of our academic buildings, South Dining Hall, the Student Union, anywhere that clubs are meeting, all those places have air conditioning. Get out of your bedroom. Meet people, go to clubs, go to meetings, hang out in the dining hall. You have an unlimited swipe with your meal plan to the dining hall. Go have 6 sodas back to back and then study for your exam, right? Get out of there those first 6 weeks and really enjoy campus. Open your windows. It might be 80 during the day, but it's probably dropping into the 40s at night. So open your windows, get that cool air in there, and it's going to be okay. We've all survived it. No one's had a heat stroke yet. I get it as someone who gets uncomfortable in the heat, but it's only a couple weeks. It's going to go away fast. And oftentimes people don't really need that air conditioning. You're going to be okay. It'll pass quickly. Zoe, would you agree that's kind of accurate for the most part? Yeah, you're like, I've been through it. We all survived. It's a rite of passage. All right. So, a final tip that I have for y'all is getting involved on campus. Hall council, so every opportunity in the residence hall, every hall has a hall council. So you can be part of leadership in your hall. There's lots of different positions that you can be president, vice president, all these different positions in your hall. And as a first year, first semester student, this is going to be one of your few leadership opportunities where you have a say about how funds are spent in your hall, what you're doing for social activities, how your building is going to advocate on campus. This is a great opportunity, and those elections are going to start very shortly after you get here, so just keep your eyes peeled for that. I would also say hall and campus events. These CAs, these staff members are going to be programming out the wazoo, right? They want you to come to the social, they want you to come to the building event. Go, open your door, show up to these events, meet people, right? There are people trying to meet you, trying to make friends just like you. Put yourself out there, leave your door open, prop it open, meet people. I would also say clubs and jobs. We have like, what, Zoe? Is it like 200 some student organizations on campus? Yeah. We have a lot of student organizations. Every niche that you can think of, there's probably students with a similar interest. All you have to do when you get here is go on Engage, which is our student involvement portal, and see what the clubs are. Join, meet people, go to meetings. And you can also get a job on campus that will help you meet people. Being on a team, working alongside people, a really good way to make friends. I would say the overarching advice here is that the first 6 weeks are critical. Research shows us as like a student affairs professional and what we learn, if you don't really bond with your institution in that first 6 weeks, then you might not really get a chance to connect. Try to limit your going home, try to limit your leaving campus, and really get attached to that campus experience in the first 6 weeks because that's the kind of make it or break it for forming relationships. So really dive in and put yourself out there those first 6 weeks. So with that, how will you know what's happening? How will you get involved? How will you dive in? Well, your hall is going to have a monthly newsletter, so please check your email. That is our advice. Check your email, your KU email regularly. But also, now is a great time to whip out your phone, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you're on. We post our stuff on there all the time about go to this social, go to this event, get this free stuff, get this t-shirt. Go. There's people just like you waiting to meet people and make friends. Follow these pages, not just because I'm in charge of social media, but because it's a great way to meet people. So scan these pages and follow us. Important phone numbers. So these are things that at some point you're probably going to save in your phone. Just do it now. Save yourself the time so you're prepared your first day on campus. You never know if there's going to be emergency. You should always have emergency numbers saved in your phone. So save public safety's number in there, 610-683-4001. You're going to also look up online. For example, if you're in Beck Hall, you can Google Beck front desk phone number. It'll show all the phone numbers for the front desk online. If you ever need help from your desk receptionist, save that in your phone. Whether you're in Berks, Lehigh, Schuylkill, Dietrich, whatever, look up the front desk phone number and save it in your phone. Also, I would say our main office number, if you have questions about any processes, jobs, meal plans, room selection, whatever it is, our main office number is here too, 610-683-4027. Save that in your phone too. That way you can call us if you have any questions. We have staff answering that phone, between 8 and 4 in the summer, 8 to 4:30 during the academic year. We can answer your questions. So just save it. A bonus tip that I want to let you all know that always becomes a problem throughout the academic year, never, ever, ever share your key, your PIN code to access your Ben room, the numbers you type into your room to get you into your room, or your ID card, your KU ID. Never, ever give it to anyone. I tell students when they check in, don't give it to your mama, don't give it to your partner, don't give it to your bestie, don't give it to anyone, right? That is just for you to have. Not only is it a violation of policy to share that with anyone, but you never know if those relationships could shift and change, and you don't want to have anyone accessing your space other than you. So please don't share your key, your PIN, or your KU ID with anyone. That's private, and we don't want you sharing that for safety reasons, right? Academic tips, I'm going to tell you first thing very early on, keep a planner, keep a calendar. Zoe, right? How many more less problems would we have if students would just write stuff down? You think you can handle it, you think you can remember it, this due date, that due date. It's a lot. You have a lot of classes, you might have a job on top of it. Keep a planner. If it's Google Calendar, if it's Microsoft Calendar, if it's Outlook, if it's written down in a planner, whatever works for you, figure out what works and keep it. Because there's a lot to keep track of, and having it written down somewhere is critical. Find your study space. You might not study well in your bedroom. For me, studying where I sleep was not going to work. I had to get out of my sleep space, go to the library, go to a quiet spot on campus, and that really told my brain that it was focus time, not sleepy time. So figure out what works for you early on. And don't skip class. Just don't do it. You're going to think you'll be fine. Go to the class. That's what you're here for. You're here to learn. You're here to go to your classes. It's only going to bite you later with not retaining content, not being prepared, losing participation points, whatever it is. Just don't skip class. And get ahead on assignments and readings. It's easy to kind of slack and say, like, I'll catch up later. No, you won't. Get ahead. Do the work. Set yourself up for success. That's really what we want. And then our last tip academically is probably just to reach out to professors early on and often. Your professors are, by and large, not scary people. They want you to get the A. They want you to do well in class. Go to their office hours. Something doesn't make sense and you're having trouble grasping what they talked about in class, they're required to have office hours. Put them to work. Go to the office hours. Get the clarity you need. Don't be afraid of them. They can be some of your best references, your best mentors, and just help you understand the content. So reach out to them early on, make sure they know that your name, who you are, and you can start building those relationships. And lastly, just expect change, growth, and the challenge of independence. This might be the first time for some of you that you're on your own academically. You're not going to have a parent or someone there telling you what to do. You might be doing your own laundry for the first time. You might have to go get your meals at the dining hall instead of something being handed to you. And maybe that's not the case for some of you, but for some of you, it's going to be a big time of independence. We're here to support you, but we can't, you know the phrase like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink? Drink. We will help you. We will lead you to water, but we need you to kind of take that step up and we will help you through it. So what's next? So that was kind of all that we had for tonight. But as I said, follow us on Instagram. We're going to be doing a live. So similar to how Zoe handled the Q&A tonight in the chat, which I didn't even open it. I trust you, Zoe. I'm sure you handled things on there. It says 89. No, it says 90 things in the chat. So whew, that's a lot. But if you have more questions or Zoe missed something, on July 10th, we're going to be going on Instagram Live literally just to answer questions at noon. So if you follow us at Live Here, Roar Here, and you just go to us, we'll be live at noon to answer any questions you have, whether they're residence life related or not. We'll do our best to help. Our next thing that we're doing like tonight, our next What's Up Wednesday is going to be July 9th, another Wednesday at 7 p.m. This one is community expectations and policies. So we'll go over basic policies, we'll give advice that new residents make, and we'll view the supports and structures in place within our residential communities. Just like you found the login for tonight, you'll also find on that same page the login for July 9th to go over policies. And we have, I think, one more after that that's about move-in day. So if you want to view the full schedule for the What's Up Wednesdays or the Instagram Live, you can go on that same page and view anything we have there. Or view on our YouTube channel at Live Here, Roar Here, any past What's Up Wednesdays we did. And as always, if you have questions, email us at kutztown@housing.edu. We are pretty good about getting back to that email address within 1 to 2 business days. If you have questions, don't be shy. And with that, that's all we have for tonight. Zoe, is there anything outstanding in the chat that you need to address?
I think that I've caught everything. If I missed something, if you could put it in the chat. Somebody just put in, if you can find a spot for furniture, can you move it out? The furniture does need to stay within your assigned space.
Yeah.
How are the rooms heated? Most will have like a heater along the wall.
Yeah. It's
That's
usually steam heat. Yeah.
Answer my question about a roommate. Marianne, if you could retype your question about a roommate. It did kind of get lost in the shuffle. That would be very helpful.
And then I see Dylan said if you have two fridges in the same room, one micro fridge and one mini fridge, that's a great question. So you can have someone rent a micro fridge unit and the other roommate can bring their own mini fridge, but you can't have two roommates both rent a micro fridge. You hear that? So if you have two roommates, you can't both rent a micro fridge. We can only have one micro fridge combined unit per bedroom. But if Sally wants to rent a micro fridge and Jenny wants to bring their own micro fridge, a small fridge with no microwave, that's fine. So hopefully that answers that.
Somebody asked about air fryers. Air fryers do fall under like the kitchen appliance category, so we don't allow those in regular rooms.
Mm-hmm.
There are tile floors in the residence halls. We do have bins available to help you during move-in day. You would sign those out wherever you are checking into your hall, and typically we allow them for like 30 or 45 minutes at a time. And then if there is not a line, you're welcome to like re-sign them out if you need more time. Moving chairs, moving out. So all the furniture is movable. So somebody did ask if everything can be arranged, and that is correct. So all the furniture is movable, but all the furniture provided does need to stay in the room. So anything that we have put in there, so like a desk chair, desk, dressers, all of those things do need to stay within the room. So I apologize if I misspoke on that. Nespressos are okay if they're the single serve with the automatic shut off, just like the Keurig machines. TVs and speakers are permitted. Just with speakers, we do ask that you be respectful of your community and make sure that you monitor the noise with it, but we do permit those. The beds, I believe that they bunk up to like 30-ish inches underneath. So if you have the plastic 3-drawer bins, if you bunk the beds all the way up, the standard like plastic bins will fit underneath. Your roommate will just be assigned randomly. So once you select your room, either whoever selects the other side of that room, if you're selecting as an individual, or whoever is assigned to that other side of the space, those will be random, but you'll be able to see who they are in your MyKU housing and reach out to them via email. The microfridge is one price for the academic year. Sound machines are permitted. Record players are also permitted. The mini fridge is 3.2 cubic feet or smaller. So typically like the standard mini fridge sizes are good. The windows have blinds on them, and then they can usually open to a certain point, and they have a screen built into them. A lot of students do put up curtains with a tension rod. The learning community meeting, Amanda, can you talk more about that?
Yeah, definitely. So if you have questions about any of your specific learning communities, so any of the special interest housing communities, ask your advisor specifically about that. I know for CUVA, that is Jana. So Jana Gregonis is who you can ask about that. And they can get in touch with you about anything that is meeting related. It'll be different per community, but that's all arranged by your advisor. So just reach out to that email address. And then the next question about prescription meds and housing. Absolutely, you can have your prescriptions on campus. We just ask that you have it labeled. So, prescriptions come with your name on it. That way, if anything turns up and we see something, we're like, okay, yes, clearly that has, Jake's name on it. We know it's Jake's. It's not anything that Jake shouldn't have. So just, try to make sure labels are appropriately on any prescription medications. Yeah. Oh, and then Marianne, we don't typically look at that point. We don't have the infrastructure to be able to match people as far as matching. So the matching features in My College Roomie are to help you pick a roommate. But now that picking a roommate process has closed, it's randomly assigned at that point, and any compatibility questions aren't considered unless it's anything that's like a sensitive issue, like maybe LGBTQ things or anything like that. But we don't look into nitty gritty at that point. It's just auto assigned based on numbers. Washing machines do use coins. They do mostly accept coins, but also you can use the Clean Cash app. So if you just look and download now, the Clean Cash app, it'll come up as like a light blue icon with a white font, Clean Cash. You can upload a minimum of $10 on there and use that for laundry, for washing and drying. It's really convenient. I highly recommend getting that. So what if no one chooses my room? Will I just have the room to myself? If no one chooses the space when you self-select, there's a chance that you will not have a roommate. However, it's very likely that you will be assigned a roommate. So Zoe's nodding because Zoe's seen it as a hall director. Normally those spaces are backfilled by students who don't select a space, who need to be auto-assigned, who join late in the semester, or it's open throughout the year. So it's important that if you don't get a roommate and one doesn't select in there, that you leave that extra desk, dresser, bed, etc. unoccupied and you don't take over the whole room, because at any point someone could be assigned to that space. What is the hall for neurodiversity called? So when we place people in the neurodiverse community, we place them in Rothermel unless they had an accommodation for another building. Hopefully that answers your question, Noah. Room selection has already closed unless it's for people that are unmatched. But Zoe, do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, so 3 p.m. tomorrow is the absolute final deadline for people who have not already matched and selected into housing. After 3 p.m. tomorrow, then we will be automatically assigning.
And how do they do that, Zoe? How do they go on to like pick a space if they can do that right now today?
So if you haven't selected, I believe that you got an email from our office earlier today as well with instructions. But you can go to your My KU Housing, and then you would log on with your same sign-on that you use like for your email and your My KU. And then there is an option to on the left-hand side, it says select a room/suite. You would click on that, and then that would show you all of the available rooms.
Yeah. And I would say, so I think it's the question with the last name Kerper here. How do you contact a randomly assigned roommate to coordinate on the microfridge? Good question, because one of you can get a microfridge, but not both of you. So if you go on My KU Housing and you look at your profile, you can see who's been assigned as your roommate, if anyone. Once their name is there, you'll also see their KU email there, and reach out on their KU email, and you can, exchange contact information and use whatever texting, whatever platform you want to use to get to know each other and talk about those things. So I think we are on time here. That is about it. But if you have questions beyond this, oh, the last question we'll take. Are there big events for new student orientation, or is it just information sessions? They do way more than just info sessions. So usually they have like interactive sessions, they have socials. So definitely reach out and look at orientations page on the website about that. But it's important to get registered for orientation so that you're familiar with KU. Oh, which halls do we like best? I'm honestly not even being funny when I say every hall has their quirks. I truly think there's something to love about all of our halls. It depends what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for a really small community, Beck has the least number of residents, so people tend to all know each other in that building, which I think is kind of cool. Rothermel Hall, the lounges have air conditioning. Not a super popular thing in the other buildings, not a common thing, so that's a perk. There's different things with each building, so it's really just what you're looking for. If you want a big building with a lot of residents, a lot of people to get to know, Dietrich is a big building on campus. So is Bonner. It really just depends what you're looking for. So I wish I had like a clear-cut answer to give you, but it's really just looking at what you need. Ooh, how do you identify not someone knocking at your door late at night? So there's a peephole on our residence hall's doors that you can look out and kind of look through the peephole, see if you recognize the person. If you don't recognize the person, don't answer the door. Ask, excuse me, who are you? Our staff and police and stuff are trained to like announce themselves, so you'll know who we are. But yeah, can I hang stuff on my door outside? Yeah, so we allow for like a small personal decoration and a door tag, but we don't want you to put too much on there due to fire safety risks. If there was like a fire to break out, the more paper and stuff that's on a door, the more it's going to attract flames. Is that a little extra? Yeah, but it's our job to keep you safe. So that's what we do. What is the process for getting a micro fridge? So I think if you go on that micro fridge website, it's just a matter of like filling out their form and their paperwork. It's not too intense. But I don't want to speak on their process because you'll better find that on their website. Thank you, Zoe, for putting it in the chat. All right. Well, we are at time, so we are going to log off. But as I said, I will be on Instagram on July 10th to answer any questions you have. I'll be there. One of our grads, like Zoe, if not Zoe herself, will be there. So we will answer any questions you have. We also will answer any questions you have at our next What's Up Wednesday. So don't be shy, log on. It doesn't have to be related to the topic. Next time the topic is policies, but we're here to help you out. Hopefully you got a lot out of tonight. We're excited to have you. It's so nice to welcome a new class. I can't wait to meet you all. Don't be shy. Say hi to all of us, and we'll see you in the fall. Thanks, Zoe, for helping me tonight.